Last week I uploaded a big compilation of all of my first stage Paradox starters. I told you that if we'd hit the 2000 subscribers because of that video, I'd make all the evolutions as well. You might say that we hit that amount of subscribers, so today I will be giving 6 of them an evolution. Our first up is an evolution for Spiky Bubbles. Like always, I first need to mention that we used the tracing method in order to stay close to the original designs. I have to say that I didn't really struggle on this piece. It was kinda nice we had a direction to follow from the start, instead of having to come up with an entirely new concept. It was also fun to build out the concept even further by making his features bigger, like his teeth, the neck color, some of his claws and the points on his knee. For the colors I decided to use a darker version of the colors we used on Froakie, because in my opinion this makes him look more experienced and older. I'm still very much in love with this color palette. I just really think the bright pink stands out perfectly to the dark blue color on its body. Sharpened Gunk, the Paradox Pokemon. It isn't common for a Paradox Pokemon to evolve. Some more research is needed to better explore this phenomenon. Spiky Bubbles is the first species we've seen evolving, but rumors say that others are soon to follow. It seems that this version is a lot faster and more intelligent. Its poison's chemical structure changed to include a toxin that can put its enemies to sleep after some time. This makes it easier for them to chase down and defeat their enemies. I am extremely happy how this piece turned out, and it was nice to build out our first character a bit. I also really like the shinies for this line, because they look quite similar to their regular forms. Our second stop is an evolution for Iron Hood. I was kinda hyped to make this piece, since I learned a lot because of all of the feedback you guys gave me. A lot of you pointed out that future forms don't need detached limbs, but you could just add hinges to the parts on their designs. This was really helpful and gave me some new insights. I do quickly need to say that if you don't like my pieces, it doesn't help to just call them awful. I can't make them better if you don't tell me what you dislike on them. So just use constructive criticism in order for me to make some designs you might actually like. Having that out of the way, the drawing went pretty smooth. We wanted to portray the electric typing a bit more clearly, that's why I decided to make some of his features have sharper and pointier edges. I did also think about making the lighted areas yellow, but I didn't want to stray too far away from Rowlet's design, so I just went with the green color. Iron Wing, the Paradox Pokemon. Evolution made this Pokemon lazier and more selfish, which is the opposite from its previous stage. Despite that, they become wiser and share that knowledge with anyone who treats them with respect and honor. They seem to be intelligent enough to operate some of human technologies, though only when they are really bored and don't have anyone near to share their knowledge with. Some of their species were seen leading small groups of their previous stages, acting as a guide. I think this is a perfect second stage to our friend Iron Hood. I especially like that he looks kinda sassy, which really fits the know-it-all personality. I think this shiny looks incredible as well, and I would 100% hunt this thing. Our third Pokemon is an evolution for Iron Chili. This was one of my favorite designs out of all of the first stage starters we made, so I had to do my best to make it look amazing. The one thing I definitely wanted in this design was the jet-like feet. Since this is a second stage, which are mostly a bit awkward, I thought it would be a good idea to make him a worse flyer than his predecessor. I did this by pointing both of the jets to the opposite side, in order to make him look a bit wobbly. For the arms I decided to use hinges again, instead of giving him floating hands. I do have to agree with you guys on that point, it instantly looks more robotic. For the colors I decided to keep the yellow parts the lighted areas, but I did still want to have the flame sombrero as well. It's just a very big part of his identity, and it just wouldn't look the same without it. You could say that I could have made it metallic, but I don't think we had to change it, since it's still a fire type. Iron Scorch, the Paradox Pokemon. When this Pokemon evolves, the excess energy is formed into an egg shape and sits on top of Iron Scorch's head. This Pokemon lights its own head with thermal energy to keep the egg warm, and otherwise it might go out. If this happens, the Pokemon itself will turn off until it's exposed to a heat source again. This suggests that it uses the egg to power itself. It does appear to be insecure about his new gained weight, which also seems to affect his flying ability. Man, I'm actually very proud of myself. I've learned so much since the start of this challenge, and my designs are getting better and better. I can't wait to evolve the second stages, because those designs are gonna be sick. The fourth Pokemon is an evolution for another fan favorite, Iron Fin. For this design I struggled a bit, because the first stage had a detached body part and I didn't really know what to do with the tails of this one. I eventually just decided to keep them attached, because the pose looked a lot more balanced in this way. I know this design doesn't change a lot, but Iron Fin didn't either. This makes me think that you don't necessarily have to make big changes to make a good design. I think the gloves, rubber patches and especially the eyes gives him such a robotic look that he doesn't even need anything else. I've always loved Hoenn starters, and by seeing this dude be so happy, I love them even more. Iron Wake, the Paradox Pokemon. Similarly to Iron Fin, this Pokemon seems to be made for the purpose of research. It can navigate very well in wet areas like swamps. With its highly sensitive paws, it can pick up items of interest in order to scan them for the chemical components. It is unsure what or who all this information is for. I am so happy with this piece. You just can't hate on his cute face. I do have to say that I'm very curious to see what this evolves into now. Last video I asked you for 2,000 subscribers and you got me all the way up to 3,300. Incredible. Now I know it might be far-fetched, but if you guys get us up to the 5,000 subscribers before the end of 7 May, I will do a 24 hours live stream. Well, now you know what to do if you want to see me struggle. The fifth Pokemon we are going to give an evolution is Razor Jaws. For this piece I wanted to continue the changes we made for Totodile. I extended his brow to give him a caveman look, which really fits Crocodile since his body markings already look like the outfit from the Flintstones. I also made his tail longer and his jaw bigger as well. This gives him an unbalanced look, which fits his second stage perfectly. It also gives him a reason to eventually evolve into the more optimized Crocodile we know and love. I also extended the spikes on its back, because I might want to move into a Spinosaurus with a huge jaw for the Feraligatr. For the colors I decided to make them just a tiny bit darker than the colors of the first form. Spiked Spine, the Paradox Pokemon. Unlike its first stage, this Pokemon seems to be less aggressive, but don't get fooled by its act. While it may look like it's lazing around, it always keeps an eye on its surroundings and patiently waits until prey approaches. When their prey is within range, they use their incredibly strong jaws to take them down, which proves that they can be just as fierce, if not fiercer than their first form. I think that this will be a perfect fit as a second stage form, but it does put a lot of pressure on the final design. If that one is good, the entire line will look fire. Well, actually water. Our final evolution will be for Ravaging Blossom. This was the first Pokemon we designed last time, which means that it could definitely use an improvement. I've learned a lot since then, so I want to give Bayleaf something extra instead of only turning his leaves pink. I decided to do this by giving him a large leaf color, just like Meganium's. I also added leaves to his chin in order to give myself the option to do something with it for the final evolution. My goal for Meganium is to turn it into our first Dragon Fairy type. Mega Ataria not included, of course. For the colors I did still want to use the pink flowers, because that will be the main reason we can use that specific typing. I'm sorry I mostly talked about his evolution, but this design is just waiting to be evolved and turned epic. Fierce Flower, the Paradox Pokemon. This Pokemon is a perfect example of how outwards appearances can be extremely deceiving. This Pokemon is a true savage and has a brutal nature hidden behind the facade of its plain and simple looks. When angered, this Pokemon will take on anything on its path, using its sharp leaf to slice through its enemies. Like I said, this Pokemon really needs to get an evolution, but I am still happy with this design. It's simple, but effective. Well, these were the first 6 second stage starters, just 21 more to go. Let me know which one was your favorite, and goodbye!